Just a couple things. First of all, on the way here, I heard the word cohabitation, and the meaning, I think, of people who are living together, cohabitating versus being married. As far as there's a way that you are supposed to behave in a way that you are supposed to walk out a marriage versus be acting that way. Just acting like you're married by cohabitating. Those are two very different things. And so the Lord just brought that to my mind. It just sort of seems to be what Tim was talking about, the way the church has thought as though they were in marriage, but have very much just been cohabitating with no
commitment.
Exactly. No commitment. And so that's the first thing. The second thing, I saw two visions simultaneously. I believe one might be for you, Emmanuel, personally. I don't know though. And then this other one was short. And it had a ship that had been ported in a town that was on the shore. But this boat specifically was a boat that was supposed to sort of, what's that word? That might not be right. Signify, maybe? Is that the right word? Signify? Supposed to represent?
Symbolize. Okay.
The times of like when the Mayflower came over.
What came over?
The Mayflower, when they originally came over.
Mayflower, I see. Okay.
But so it was a ship that was sort of like from that time.
Yeah.
After seeing that, the Lord just said Mayflower Compact to me, and I don't know what that is, so I was just trying to look it up. I don't know what that is, so I don't have time to look it up right now. It looks like a lot of reading. But anyway, so the ship was simultaneously a slave ship and a Mayflower, and like a ship that was brought the first, I think, pilgrims over, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, and so it was leaving this port, and as it turned to leave, I could see the oars of the ship that like slaves would push. That's what made me think that it was a slave ship as well, but that was no longer in use. The ship actually rose up out of the water, and it had these on an axle, like these, almost like in a ship, the rudder.
Yeah.
But they were like on both sides of it, front and the back. So they were acting as wheels sort of, but they were like rudders. Anyway, those enabled the ship to kind of rise up out of the water, and it rose up into the sky, and it sort of it headed on a certain course, a straight course, and it went pretty fast. And a strange thing happened. It came in and out of like my vision. Like it became blurry at times, and then it became I was fully aware of it at times, but it continued on that course. And in the same vision, you can see this really, really, really high up mountain with this cliff side. And on the top of this cliff are two Native Americans, or no, Americans, I don't know what land this is, two natives on horseback. And they're looking out over the sky because they're so high on a mountain that they're level with the sky, so they can see this thing that had taken place. And as soon as they saw, I guess, it rise to the occasion maybe that it was meant to, and doing on its course it was supposed to be on, they turned. And they didn't go anywhere, but they turned, and that was significant, like the turning of that. And as they turned, the earth opened up and separated where they were at from the rest of that land, and a river came up and through that separation. And I saw that in the vision it was zooming into the hands of these natives, and so they both had their hands open. And what I believe happened was they were side by side, and the one like that was in the back, and there was one kind of in the front from my point of view. side by side. So I was looking at it like this, and they had their hands open. And the very first Indian, well, or native, he had tools put in his hands by like the mind of mankind. Like, I felt as though I was putting tools in his hand myself. And then that led him to come off of his position on this horse and to stand next to it and be bound by ropes, his hands behind his back. So it was like, and then the other one waited, and the tools were put into his hands, not through the man kind, and that was it.
Wow.
And he had gotten weak, I think, too. Like, I saw him bending over, like almost like an agony a little bit. The man that had had the tools put by man into his hand.
Oh yeah,
and he was
bondage.
bound. He seemed to be like
struggling.
Yeah.
Now, how you think that had related to me?
Oh, that yours is a different one.
Mine is different. Oh, this is okay.
There was two that happened at the same time.
Oh,
that was one.
Okay, so you want to tell me?
I certainly can.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it is finished because I don't.
Oh wow.
But I
okay.
can.
I don't want to interrupt you now. So
I can continue to pray on that, or I could.
You decide what to do.
The Mayflower Compact, by the way, was a as they traveled overseas, the heads of household basically gathered on the ship and said, "We're coming into a new land. How are we going to govern ourselves as a people?"
Yeah.
And that's what that became. Was they were deciding it was basically the first implication of what it meant to be a self-governed people.
Yeah. Very meaningful. Yeah. So yeah.
The interesting thing is that they were thinking, how are we going to function together?
Yeah, how we can be a people in
Right.
a new land, you know.
And specifically with a mindset that we're not going to be on our own, but we're going to govern in a way that includes the benefit of all the people.
That's very interesting. You ready to write down compact? Yeah. I was thinking that God gave you amazing gifts. You know, this vision obviously is a historical background, but it projecting what is spiritually we are doing in a sense. You know, what God accomplishing through us. You know, because God may use any story to project that, but I think the obvious application is we as remnants escaped from certain things, found a new land, become new people, which is exactly the vision the Lord gave to us when we moved here. You know, so we to become a new people. You know, so with that we were very, very apprehensive to even talk about it, which I have not been vocal about it. So, you know, sometimes said God set us aside to become a new people. You know, outside all the cultures. It's only the time we moved here, the concept of being a heavenly culture to people, being a people set apart, more than a refuge, but rather as, I don't know the word incubator is a good word actually, it's something you born model out of, say, you know, so a precedent something, you know, prototype something, you know, so archetype, I think that the word is archetype, yes, so something. So we had to practice it, you know, so else it's this concepts, you know, God give us the privilege to be the first fruits, the embodiment or manifestation of the prototype, you know, that antitype. So it's amazing. Now, that for sure everybody had to struggle because the severing the cord with the other way of life, you know. So, and also we have a huge responsibility to oversee the young ones don't be influenced by this, you know, the always life, you know. So I think that's Nicole's vision about the coyote turned to the deer. Coyote is a threatening animal. A deer is worth wearing deer, right? So, but it's equally dangerous, you know. So fox attacking into the kitchen, the chicken or something like that. And God using living imagery of our life, basically to inform us the kind of spiritual duty we have, So I don't think we should be threatened by it. It's only said call out to alert, said, hey, be aware, So don't just look at things appear to be evil, then resist it. Rather, also thinking about that evil can transform something. We're innocent, we're good, we're fun to have, but it's the same nature, I think that represent, if you will, the religious spirit, So some religious ideas can be very appealing to our way of thinking. The foxes, I think, it's more about the family. I don't exactly know. So, yeah. Nicole, what do you want to do with the vision? I will all want to hear it. Just so the Lord told me He's going to give you a vision for me, so I don't know what it is. So.